From Hollywood, it's time now for...
Yeah, Johnny Dollar.
This is Peter Hanley at Western Maritime and Property Insurance.
Holy, look, do you always start making calls at 4 a.m., Mr. Hanley?
I had to phone clear across the country, Mr. Dollar, to find out that you're right here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's right. The Beverly Hilton out here in Beverly Hills.
Good.
But I've cleared up the case that brought me here, so as soon as I have breakfast, if they serve it at this unearthly hour, I'll pack up my bags and go back to Hartford.
Please don't.
Oh, what's up?
One of our clients is about to present us with a claim that I think you ought to investigate, as long as you're right here.
Yeah, what sort of a claim?
For the loss of his yacht,
How much of a claim?
between $150,000 and $250,000.
Wowee.
You know where Malibu Beach is?
Yeah, sure, up the coast a few miles. Used to be a famous movie colony, that sort of thing.
That's the place. Well, if you can find some means of transportation, I'll meet you at the Malibu Pier.
On expense account, Mr. Hanley, I can find anything.
Well, now, look here.
And on a claim that could run to $250,000, I'm sure you won't be chintzy.
Mr. Dollar.
I'll see you at the Malibu Pier.
Bob Bailey in the exciting adventures of the man with the action-packed expense account. America's fabulous freelance insurance investigator.
Yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
And now, Act One of yours truly, Johnny Dollar.
Expense account submitted by Special Investigator Johnny Dollar to the Western Maritime and Property Insurance Company, Los Angeles, California. Following is an account of expenses incurred during my investigation of the Malibu mystery matter. Expense account item 1, $2.25 for a fancy breakfast in my room at the Beverly Hilton. Item 2, $50 deposit on the best-looking rental car I could find. I drove out Santa Monica Boulevard at the Coast Highway, then north along the edge of the Blue Pacific, some 12 or 13 miles to Malibu, where a long fishing pier stuck out into the ocean. Cars were parked for half a mile on either side of the pier entrance, and it looked as though half the population of L.A. was crowded out on the pier itself. Thanks to an ambulance that pulled away from the curb and headed south toward town, I found a parking space.
Mr. Dollar? Here.
Oh, hi, Mr. Hanley.
Network.